looking great. All shiny, all your auras are bright and tingling. It was very nice. Thank you, Seth, for the beautiful didgeridoo. Our guest speaker today is Terresena Backens, and her husband Martin is with us. If you remember on the schedule, we had Carol Quinn on today, but she graciously decided to forego and be our guest speaker 2 weeks from today because Terresena and her husband are from Arkansas. They're in town. They were doing a workshop at Awakenings Center yesterday, and Isabella Stoloff introduced us to each other. We met for the first time this morning, and we did a quick schedule change to capitalize on them being in town so they could come and share with us. We have behind us Opheleah here, which is one of the 13 skulls that are available, and we're going to be, is that not correct?
No, exactly.
Oh, okay. I will let her be the technical person. But she's going to be telling us all about her journey and how she came to find it, the work they do together, how it shifted her life, and she's going to be sharing all of that with us. First of all, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the topic today. Something always unfolds for me each week that I want to share with you, and events happen. And as you know, on Sunday mornings I wake up and say, what's my topic today? And I'm given the topic, and then I see magically how I've been being shown that topic all week and ways that it dances and moves, and how the universe conspires to always help us learn everything that we need to learn. So we moved house this week from one place in Laguna to another place in Laguna Beach. And we were fortunate enough to get a place with a very long balcony. And we were kind of getting our bearings around and figuring out light switches and where everything worked. And I was on one end of the balcony, and I was walking towards the end where the living room was. And for some reason, and it almost seems now like I wasn't in control, and I'm kind of sure that I wasn't, because I don't think I would have done this intentionally. But I was looking down at my feet, which I never do. I mean, I always look up and see where I'm going. And I took a hard right, and instead of going through the open door, I smacked into a glass panel right on my third eye. And there was a sweat mark or an oil mark that big. I mean, it was that big. I mean, so I can imagine. And I screamed, and I just felt this stun of this glass as it kind of bounced me back. And of course, Audubon came running, and my head is still really tender. But as I did this, I had this vision, and I saw my third eye like shake out all kinds of debris. And it was almost like it was shaking out a level of consciousness going to a higher one. And there was no way I would have done that. That is, I don't recommend that method of opening your throat. My head is still really tender. And I was really shaken up. And the first thing I blurted out was, oh, am I going to get a headache? And I went, no, cancel, clear, delete. And I started doing some healing work on my head, and I did not get a headache. I couldn't believe it. And I wasn't stunned in any way. But I got here yesterday morning for our holistic healing fair, and I was telling a couple of the healers about it. And Deborah Shea had some Lemurian crystals, and I was just drawn to take this Lemurian crystal, and I just stuck it right on my third eye. And I could feel it realigning and cleansing it and going through and helping it get aligned. And it's definitely at a new consciousness, because what I can see now is a lot different than what I could see 24 hours ago. And Tanya, one of the other healers, she came in and she said, your energetic bodies are completely thrown out of whack. And she brought them all in and kind of straightened them up, and I kind of aligned. So my topic today is there are no accidents. And there are no mistakes. Everything that happens in some way, in some shape and form, is the universal truths and alignments and energies helping to shape the journey that we take, the people that we meet, the experiences that we have, even the walls that we smack into. Everything that happens in some way, shape, or form has purposeful intent. Your challenge is to figure out what that is. Instead of saying, oh, this happened to me. If I could ask you to do one thing for the rest of your life, retire the phrase, happened to me, did this to me, yelled at me, attacked me. If I could ask you to retire a group of phrases, that would be it, because nothing ever actually happens to you. It happens from you and around you and with you in a way that you have, before you came here, with your guides and your guardian angels, set about a purposeful journey to learn certain things, accomplish certain things, be of service in a certain way. And every time you go a little bit kind of off track here, there'll be a bumper guard. One of your angels or your guides will kind of gently tap you back into space when jobs go away or things happen or people move in and out of your life. They're course corrections, they're navigational adjustments, either by your higher self or your guides or your guardian angels, because you asked them to help you stay on track. Because you gave them your keys and said, don't let me drive drunk. If I'm getting off track, get me back on track. And they help you do that because they love you and they honor you and they take their commitment and their devotion to you at the highest level of importance. My head's vibrating right now just as I'm talking about it. It still actually is a little tender. There are no mistakes. I saw several clients yesterday, and I always love how the theme, I don't know how this works, but it does. When I see 4 or 5 clients in a row, it's uncanny to me that the theme is always the same. And I find myself having almost verbatim the same message coming through to them. And they're from different backgrounds, different ages, different issues that they came in to work on. And yet the messages that come through, I find myself hearing the same messages. So I always know, of course, that those messages are for me as well. Because everybody in our life is about what we are and who we are and how we do it. And you always hear me remind you that the people in your life are showing up to illustrate to you what it is that you're reflecting. And I know sometimes that's hard to look at. And some of the times, the most bizarre people and things will show up in your life, and you'll look at me and say, there is no way I asked for that. You may not have consciously asked for it, but I invite you to consider that you are subconsciously creating it, and the laws of attraction are in full alignment all the time, and whatever it is that you are creating inside will show up in front of you. And sometimes, as hard as that is to swallow, if you're willing to look at it, it's the easiest way to get it to move out and say, what part of me, deep in my subconscious mind or my conscious, is asking for this to come in? Does anybody have anything that they think, some strange person in their life, some strange occurrence, something happening, my technical support. I'm speaking too softly. Okay. We'll edit that part out when I tape it. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's a little bit harder back here, but that's okay, I'm watching.
I can hold the mic. Is that better? Let me go back and forth. Oh, that is much lower. So I invite you to just think for a moment. In the last week, you got the reverb on there. In the last week, has something really strange and bizarre happened that makes no sense to you whatsoever? Or even just somebody that you've bumped into in the grocery store that was unkind to you?